Coach Prime meeting with the media today, the first time in a little bit for Coach Prime, but it is Big 12 Media Day. Here we are now with the unofficial/official start of the college football season. I mean, the Colorado Buffaloes, think about it this way, Danny, play a football game next month.
Yeah, Media Days, you know it, you can feel it. It starts to get serious and ramp up right around there. All the projections coming out, preseason rankings. I'm excited, man. College football, I've over the last 7 or 8 years, I've really grown to love college football, and that's a guy who went to a small college who didn't have a football team. So, I only imagine that pandemonium, that fanfare of being an alum, the allegiance, I love it, man. It's one thing I didn't do. I wish I would have.
Yeah, well, when Coach Prime met with the media today, obviously big shoes to fill with the Colorado Buffaloes. No more Travis Hunter, adios to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Deion Sanders, adios to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the two faces, player-wise, of the program are gone, and arguably the most important position in quarterback, and a dual threat guy who did it unlike anything we've ever seen in modern memory.
Two retired players.
Yeah, two retired numbers.
Two
exactly.
retired players, man.
But it seems like, there's a lot of questions around what this Colorado Buffaloes team will be, what Coach Prime's CU team will look like without Travis and Shedeur. Well, here's a spicy quote, a big, powerful quote from Coach Prime about the program moving forward without Travis and Shedeur. Quote, "They were great players. We have a better team." End quote. Powerful from Deion. Powerful.
Well, we said it on the show today. When you're so top-heavy with 2 stars, yeah, these guys can bail you out, win a lot of games, bring you back, but sometimes it's at the expense or the suffering of the team as a whole, the development of the team as a whole. So 2 years ago, this team would have stood no chance, no depth, not enough talent. Now, 2 years later, going into a third season, the foundation, like we said, has really been laid down, built properly, and it's not just about top-heavy stars. Now you're talking about a complete team, guys leaning on each other, the balance that it takes to really maybe win at an ultimate and a high level, conference championship type of level. Maybe doesn't happen with just 2 stars, even if they're 2 dogs, and even if they're 2 all-time greats like Shedeur and Trav.
Well, and what's going to be interesting here with the Buffs, as at least in year 1 of the Deion Sanders era, and you saw this kind of correct itself in year 2 a little bit, and now you're hoping it corrects itself even more in year 3. They were a top-heavy program. Year 1, it was Travis, Shedeur, this player, that player, right? They had a handful of different guys, wide receivers, that would come in here for a year, and then they're out, on to the next adventure and whatnot. Last season, you saw with the additions of Jordan Seaton, what they did with the running back room, some stuff that they did on defense. You saw them still be top-heavy with Travis and Shedeur, but have more depth. Offensive line was better. Defense as a whole was better, right? It looked like they were taking a step. So now you remove that top weight, you remove Shedeur, you remove Travis, and you hope that you're better around the margins and you're a deeper football team overall. So maybe there's not the quote-unquote same sex appeal. There's not the same buzz with the Colorado Buffaloes because of no Travis and Shedeur, but you could very well be a better football team, as Coach Prime is alluding to.
Well, now we see what Coach Prime does with a real Division I, Big 12 college football program. You're not coaching your son, you're coaching someone else's son. You're not developing your own kid through since he was 5, 6, 7 years old. You're getting someone else's player in Salter and then a 17-year-old who you're going to have all that influence on again in Juju. So to me, this is the first opportunity we're really going to see Coach Prime in the sense of what can you do the same as what everybody else does.
Right. And here's what Coach Prime had to say today at Big 12 Media Day in regards to his plans and his vision, long-term and short-term for the Colorado Buffaloes.
I started this by saying I love our commissioner, I love our AD, and they provided a luxury of growth, of unity, and respect. So our long-term plans are to win. Our short-term plans are to win. I have a simple formula. It's like 40-40-20, grad transfers, and high school kids. So I stick to what we do, what we know that works for us. It may not work for somebody else, but it works for us. And it's been working for us, so I'm pleased with it.
So short-term, long-term plan, 3 letters, W-I-N, win.
Absolutely. He's probably in so many words said that from day one.
Yes.
But we all knew.
That's always the message.
But we all knew better. And so just talking, that straight smack talk, that master motivation had them in those last 2 years with those fast starts until, the rest of the league, depth, caught up with them. Now, into a third year, the program's in a different place, a different state. It is a little bit less about him being on social, doing the talk shows, being everywhere to build the brand. Now it's about the substance. Now it's about the wins, really, in a real true fashion itself, because now you're going to be judged on the wins, not judged on the hype and judged on the come up and judged on your kid and judged on Trav and judged on the really poor history of the Buffs being a one-win, bottom feeder and a brand that was all the way down at rock bottom. Now you're going to be judged on something different.
Well, and maybe it's unfair, but it's also just happens to be the reality of the situation. I think a lot of the success or failure of the Colorado Buffaloes this coming season will be because of the quarterback play. And Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes took both Caden Salter and Julian Lewis, both quarterbacks, out to Big 12 Media Day. Coach Prime says part of the reason as to why they brought both of the quarterbacks is because they don't know which one's going to start yet. But here's what Coach Prime had to say in regards to if he's comfortable with both quarterbacks playing throughout the course of a season.
Yeah, as long as they're doing their jobs and we're winning, we definitely want to continue to develop Juju, but Caden is unbelievable. Caden's off the chain. He's been there, done that. He can get the job done. I wouldn't have brought him here if I didn't trust him. But Juju is coming on around the mountain when he comes. And I love him. I love what he brings to the table. I don't know how it's going to play out, as long as it plays out. We can't lose either way with either of those two.
Can't lose either way. If I'm reading between the lines, it sounds like what we've talked about throughout the course of the show. It is Caden Salter's job to lose, but you also might see some Juju Lewis sprinkled in select packages, select plays throughout the course of the season.
Well, the only twist on that I would say in what Salter brings in experience and maturity and have done it, Juju's talent level might close the gap on all that kind of stuff.
Fair.
If he's
that good.
A wickedly, extremely talented dude who is just a difference maker because of the pure physical ability as he's learning to play the quarterback position, that's that kind of balance that throws you from a spot of, well, if they go with Juju, what happened to Caden? Well, maybe Juju's just out of this world.
Yeah.
And maybe Caden's just really, really, really good. Again, you go with Caden, and you see where that takes you. And I believe that this guy's really, really good, but they could have went down a road where you have a guy in Juju, you know he's your future. You never bring Caden Salter in here. You never bring Salter in here to even compete because of your philosophy on a young guy, and maybe you go with two really young guys. He said the 40-40-20 rule. I really like that. I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but 40% experienced players, 40% grad players, and 20% high school guys, right?
Yep.
That sounds like a winning recipe. It sounds like something you can lean on when one group is a little bit stronger or weaker than the other. You can't just be all transfer guys. You can't just be all
so how that worked out year one.
Nomads just finding a place and a paycheck and wanting to move on and not really want the college football experience, becoming really a legacy buff. There's a lot of questions.
Well, if Juju Lewis or Caden Salter is to succeed, offensive line's important, running back's important, but the guys catching the balls are important as well. Here's what Coach Prime had to say on the receiver room.
I can't wait to unleash them. They're great. Now, you got to understand, they're replacing some dogs that all of them will be in a professional, all four of them will be in a professional camp from a year ago. But these young men are unbelievable. I can't wait till the world get a glimpse of these receivers. We have some youngsters from freshmen on up that can flat out go get it. And I'm proud. I'm proud of our recruits, our coaches. I'm proud of what we've brought into Boulder, Colorado.
I think Colorado's in a good position at wide receiver because they do, as Deion alluded to, have a crop of young guys coming in, but they've also got guys that have been there and done that. Omarion Miller being one, Draylon Miller being another. Omarion Miller had a devastating injury in the middle of last season, which kind of derailed him. But Omarion Miller, I believe, was the guy, I think it was the USC game 2 years ago, one of the games at Folsom Field where he popped off and he had Michael Irvin, the playmaker, coming up to him after the game, putting his hand on his shoulder and saying, this kid's the truth. So we're going to miss the LeJounte Westers of the world. We're going to miss the Travis Hunters of the world, but they have plenty of reinforcements in the receiver room.
That's a river of talent that they have at that position. If there's one thing that Coach Prime can get right, has gotten right, it's that wide receiver group. They have too many. He's got too many guys.
It's a great problem to have, though.
It's a great problem to have. He has that, whether it's the eye for the talent, whether it's the talking to these kids' mama to get them to see you, whatever it is, it works with receivers, and that's not going to be a problem at all. If anything, it's going to really help Caden or Juju, whoever's really taking the lead at this quarterback position for us, that you have one of the best groups in the conference, at least, of wide receivers. Running back is a little bit of a different story.